Well, I've got to say, it looks to me like a reckless gamble with the British economy that does very little for working people. The real winners in all of this are bankers. But, you know, the government's had 12 years to get the economy right. Liz Truss has been a member of the cabinet for 10 of those years. They've had 6 different growth plans that have all failed. They've imposed 15 different tax hikes. Liz Truss voted for all of them, even in March this year, when they pushed through the national insurance contributions rise. Labour was telling the government this is the wrong tax rise at the wrong time because it clobbers working people. But Kwasi Kwarteng, Liz Truss, they didn't just vote for it, they came on shows like yours and they defended it. They've had 12 years to get the economy right and they've failed abysmally. So now, with the next general election no more than 2 years away at most, it looks to me like they've gone to the casino and they've gambled the British economy and British people's household finances on a set of uncosted tax cuts that benefit the super wealthy but do very little to help anybody else.
I mean, many Tories even are saying that, yes, it's a risk. You don't know it's going to work. But if we don't give it a go and give it our support, what else can we do? The country is facing recession, according to some economists. We're already in a recession. We've got to pull out of it and maybe give this a go. It's a different plan from the one they've had before.
What? The reason the economy is not growing is because the Conservatives have never invested in the economy. And giving tax cuts to bankers by uncapping their bonuses doesn't invest in the economy. It's like, you know, many of your viewers will have a mortgage and they would like that mortgage to be paid off earlier. But I suspect very few of them would go to the nearest casino and bet their house on the roulette wheel. And that's effectively what the government has done with the economy. We saw yesterday what the financial markets think of this when we saw the pound drop by the largest amount in 37 years. Even the markets don't trust what the government has done. But the real risk of all of this is what it's going to do to household incomes, because borrowing on the eye-watering scale that we saw announced yesterday, with no data to substantiate how much that borrowing will ever peak at, leads to higher rates of inflation when inflation is already at 10% and higher interest rates, which pushes up mortgages. So what little benefit the majority of people get from the tax cuts will be eaten up by higher prices in the shops and higher payments for their mortgages. So according to the Resolution Foundation, anyone earning less than £150,000, which is 99% of us, will be worse off as a result of what the Chancellor did yesterday. How can that be right when we're facing a crisis like the one that households are so terrified about over this coming winter?
To stimulate growth, don't we? I mean, surely you would agree with that. Now, you might not agree with the measures that have been put in place to do that, but we can at least give it. We're going to have to give it some time, aren't we, to see if it does stimulate growth. If it does, will you eat your words?
Well, there's no evidence from history anywhere that tax cuts for the super rich stimulates growth. The way that you get growth is what the last Labour government did, and you invest in the economy. Right now, the economy needs to be moving to a green and digital framework. The Conservatives have failed to invest in that. So my colleague Rachel Reeves, the Shadow Chancellor, at last year's Labour conference, started to outline how Labour would invest in shifting the economy to that. That's the way you get the good jobs. That's the way you get the secure incomes all across the country that people need. And at our conference that starts tomorrow in Liverpool, she and Keir Starmer will be saying even more about that. What you don't do is recklessly borrow, mortgage the future, effectively, is what the Conservatives have done. Working people will have to pay all of that back in order to hand handouts to bankers today. It's absolutely bizarre way to carry on when the Conservatives got us into this mess in the first place by failing to grow the economy. Growth under the last Labour government was twice as high on average as we've seen under this Conservative government. It's absolutely staggering what they've done, and now they've put everyone's household finances at risk in a way that I've certainly never seen in my adult lifetime from a British government before.